Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News, reaching you live from our Lagos studios. I am Oluyemisi Olubi, and here are tonight's top stars. And now the news in full. Cameroonian President Paul Biya has arrived Abuja. The Cameroonian president was received by President Buhari at the forecourt of his office at exactly 2 p.m. in company of his wife Aisha and other top government functionaries. President Paul Biya is in Nigeria alongside his wife. Meanwhile, the two leaders are in a closed-door meeting. Our correspondent Abiola Oluwole has more.
The Cameroonian president was received by President Muhammadu Buhari at the forecourt of his office at exactly 2 p.m. in company with his wife Aisha and other top government functionaries. President Biya is in Nigeria alongside his wife Achanta. After inspecting the guard of honor, the Cameroonian leader and President Buhari proceeded for a closed-door meeting with their teams. Record that President Buhari was in Cameroon in July 2015 to hold talks on how to defeat Boko Haram insurgents and other economic issues. The two leaders are expected to issue a joint communique on Wednesday. From the presidential villa in Abuja, Abiola Oluwole reporting for CoreTV News.
The Catholic bishops under the umbrella of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria are appealing to Nigerians to exercise more patience with President Muhammadu Buhari and the quest towards changing the country for the better. Archbishop Ignatius Kaigama made the appeal while briefing State House correspondents after a closed-door meeting with President Buhari. Coming out of the meeting, the Archbishop says the President is very passionate about changing the fortune of the country for the better. He therefore urged Nigerians to exercise more patience with government's attempts at tackling the challenges facing the nation. The Bayelsa State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja is setting up May 4th for the date to commence hearing on the testimonies of petitioners witnessing against the election of Siriake Dixon as governor of the state. A three-man panel led by Justice Kazim Alugba fixed the date after the petitioners' witnesses failed to testify on Tuesday due to errors in the pagination of their proof of evidence. Our correspondent Basil Okafo has more.
The petitioner and governorship candidate of All Progressive Congress, Timmy Presiva, is challenging the re-election of Governor Siriake Dixon on the ground that the election that produced him was marred by violence and electoral irregularities. Hearing on the petition was stalled on Tuesday due to the inability of Silva's counsel to properly arrange their witness proof of evidence before they could be allowed to testify. The tribunal chairman consequently adjourned till May 4 to enable petitioners' counsel to sort out the issues with the mix-up in their witness written statement. Both petitioner and his counsel reacted to the development at the end of the tribunal sitting.
Without any hitches, of course, there were some slight mix-ups in the paginations and the judge had to adjourn. The judges had to adjourn for tomorrow, which is for me is okay. And we're coming back tomorrow, and we believe that justice will be done at the end of the day.
The binding was faulty. The people who bound the petition, normally when we prepare petitions, we call professionals who come and number them and bind them. And these things were done a year ago. But I think happily the tribunal we have found a middle course to navigate out of the problem.
The tribunal also refused to grant the request of Silva's counsel for Tuesday's sitting not to be counted as one of the days constitutionally allowed for the tribunal to sit. Tribunal chairman agrees with the Governor Siriaki's counsel, Tayo Oyetibo, that the business of the day was for the petitioner to open his case, but due to their inability to put their house in order, their witnesses could not testify, and that the day should be counted. Basil Okafo, CoreTV News, Abuja.
A federal high court in Abuja today affirmed a factional candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the April 11, 2015 State House of Assembly election in Iwele constituency, Badebo Akinola Odimayo, as the authentic candidate of the party. In his judgment in the suit instituted by Odimayo, Justice Ahmed Mohammed held that the plaintiff's name was wrongfully substituted with that of Philip Ajimotoki, who was later declared winner of the election by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Both Ajimotoki and Odimayo belong to separate factions of the PDP in the state. Odimayo had sued the PDP and INEC, claiming that he won the party's primary held in November 2014 at the St. Peter's Catholic Hall in Iwele local government area of the state with 35 votes. The Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly have been impeached. The Speaker of the House, Honorable Victor Edoro, and his Deputy, Festus Abia, were accused of incompetence and high-handedness. Festus Abia, along with 3 other members, Friday Oheriahi, representing Orion South, Jude Ise Idehen, representing Ikboba Oha, and Patrick Osaimwen, representing Oredo East, were suspended for alleged misconduct, which in turn reportedly led to the crisis. Prior to his suspension, the suspended lawmakers had decamped from the All Progressive Congress to the People's Democratic Party. The impeachment of the Deputy Speaker was, however, carried out by 15 lawmakers belonging to the APC who sat for plenary, but was signed by 16 lawmakers at the old Assembly complex inside the Edo State Government House as a result of the renovations currently going on at the State House. Meanwhile, a new Speaker, Elizabeth Ativie, was elected as replacement after their impeachment. And still with politics, the crisis rocking the Ogun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has taken a new turn, as its state chairman, Adebayo Dayo, and Secretary, Semiu Shodipo, have been suspended from office indefinitely. They were suspended by 9 members of the party's State Working Committee, who unanimously elected Ibukunla Ojoshipe and Muritala Adegoke as interim chairman and secretary respectively. The 9 officers accused Dayo and Shodipo of alleged financial misappropriation, indiscriminate imposition of candidates, and exclusion of party officials from the ongoing PDP Congress. Meanwhile, the suspended party members have described their suspension as illegal. Still with politics, Gombe State People's Democratic Party World Congress has been declared inconclusive following the crisis that engulfed the exercise in Biliri local government area of the state. As a result, election that was initially scheduled for Saturday will not hold in 4 of the 10 wards in the local government. Reacting to the situation, Rambi Ayala of Biliri East constituency said it is so disheartening, so regrettable that party leaders in the state were responsible for the action. He further stated that the crisis is as a result of interest by some members who have insisted that the party guidelines for the Congress, which is a consensus, be set aside for election. The World Congress was successfully held in the remaining 10 local governments of the state and 6 wards in Biliri, leaving Tanglang, Bangaje North, Bangaje South, and Tudu wards of Biliri local government. A hungry man, the saying goes, is an angry man. So also a well-fed nation is a productive one. All these are pointers to the fact that there is a serious need to have food security in any nation. This importance is highlighted in a bill for an act to make provision for freedom from hunger and the right to adequate food acceptance quality, sponsored by Theodore Orji from Abia Central. Members deliberating on the bill argued that the food sufficiency should be uppermost in the mind of government if there must be sustainable development in Nigeria. Our correspondent has more.
Nigerians have severally been accused of favoring foreign goods, including foods. This is now being discountenanced on the floor of the Senate as the Red Chamber deliberates on the serious need to free Nigerians from hunger. The right to food is the right every Nigerian has, as observed by the sponsor.
The bill seeks to make provision for freedom from hunger, create basic right to food of acceptable quality, and the right of every child to basic nutrition.
Calling mostly former governors in the Red Chamber by the President of the Senate, members sought government's intervention, especially in policy formulations in agriculture.
We have not taken food security seriously in this country, particularly when we know that this nation has survived on agriculture in the past. But when the oil came in, everyone went for oil money and agriculture was abandoned.
We can't be talking about feeding Nigerians without talking of food security. The crisis we are facing in the country, especially with the Boko Haram in the north, has heightened the issue of food security more, because the prices of food items in the country now have skyrocketed.
Mr. President, the pride of any nation is to feed itself. A nation that cannot feed itself cannot be proud.
Their contributions is, however, soliciting answers from some members about their work as state governors to develop agriculture and help food production and sufficiency in their state during their tenures.
All the former governors that have spoken were in the other party that have been in power for 16 good years. And I wanted to, because what I would have loved in this bill is for distinguished Senator Orji to have given us an example of what has been done in a state, in Abia State.
Nigeria has had so many sustainable food development strategies in the past. There was the Operation Feed the Nation of the General Obasanjo military regime, the Green Revolution of the Shehu Shagari administration, but none seem to have lasted out.
The fact of, within the bill, having an agency that is given the responsibility of doing a forecast of what could happen when you do not have a sustained agriculture going.
After an exhaustive debate, the bill is read for a second time and referred to the Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development for further legislative input. Jamila Fegwa, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Can the economy be sustained with the overdependence on crude oil and the continuous downward slide in the global oil prices? This was the question at today's plenary in the House of Representatives. In line with government's decision to diversify the economy, the House resumed the sectoral debate with the invitation of the Minister for Information, Culture and National Orientation, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, to give the executive perspective on how the economy should be diversified. Our National Assembly correspondent, Emmanuel Ehijene, files in this report.
The overdependence on the petroleum sector and the complete neglect of other sectors has been the bane of the nation's economy. This is the summation of Alhaji Lai Mohammed, the Minister of Information, Culture and National Orientation, at the commencement of the sectorial debate in the House of Representatives today. He said that the recently concluded summit on culture and tourism couldn't have come in a more auspicious time, saying that if the sector is properly funded and developed, it will not only expose the cultural richness of the country, but also provide job opportunities for our teeming youths across the country.
Coming just a few days after we concluded our National Summit on Culture and Tourism, we feel the positioning culture and tourism in a diversified economy. We are quite pleased, therefore, that the summit has dovetailed into the special debate organized by the House of Representatives. The reality of the situation in which we find ourselves today in Nigeria is that we really do not have any alternative than to look into other areas of the economy in our quest to move away from the over-dependence on oil.
He stated that lack of proper perception management has robbed the nation of huge benefit from tourism.
We lack the capacity and wherewithal to carry out such classification. The National Assembly will want to take the lead in ensuring that the political solution is found to this problem. The United Nations World Tourism Organization is ready to assist Nigeria to boost tourism.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, believes that such engagements with the executive will help to actualize the change agenda of the government, help the legislature to make proper laws for the country, and also assist the legislature also in carrying out its oversight functions. Questions and comments were entertained from members, and the sectorial debate continues tomorrow with the invitation of the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adoshu, expected to address the House.
We're asking for laws to make kidnapping capital punishment, for kidnapping. Well,
For a short break now, do join us again.
You know, Angela, that's a very difficult question.
It is difficult to respond to that question.
Angela, that's a great question.
Great question, Angela.
Angela, that is a very great question.
That's a great question, Angela.
Okay, that's a great question.
Yeah, very good question.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
That's an interesting question.
This is an interesting question you pose.
60 Minutes with Angela. Again, answers to every question you always wanted to ask.
With over 7 billion of world population and still counting, the world needs to hear you now than ever. Whatever your ministry or vision is, Gospel Africa will help get you there faster than you think possible. For inquiries and participation, contact 009 503 3859 or 0812-076-0011 or visit www.gospelafricang.com. Gospel Africa, your #1 media solutions for the church today. Gospel Africa, showing on this station at this time.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're on CoreTV Primetime News Hour. And here are the top stories we're tracking tonight. Before we proceed further in tonight's bulletin, do remember that you can get updates on our news stories from our different social media platforms. On Facebook, we are at facebook.com/CoreTV News. And you can also check out our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. Or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/CoreTV News. The Ondo State Council of the Nigerian Union of Journalists have urged state governments and other media owners to improve the welfare package of journalists. Chairman of the state NUJ, James Showale, made the plea in a statement in Akure in felicitation with media professionals on the occasion of the 2016 World Press Freedom Day. Showale decried the suffering of journalists arising from non-payment of backlog of salaries by some private newspaper proprietors and state governments. He stated that journalists cannot perform their responsibilities as watchdogs of the ruling class if they are being poorly paid or not being paid at all by their employers. The chairman commended recent moves by the national leadership of the NUJ to picket head offices of some newspaper houses in Lagos and Abuja currently owing workers their salaries. As the Buhari-led administration continues to look at different ways of fulfilling its promises to Nigerians, there are indications that the government is considering the implementation of fiscal federalism. Fiscal federalism, a phenomenon concerned with understanding which function and instruments are best centralized and best placed in the spheres of a decentralized system of government, was on the front burner of our flagship program called Digest, leading to mixed reactions from the guests and the viewers.
The manner with which state governors spend the allocation given to them at the federal level has become uncalled for, to which Nigerians want a restructuring plan, probably a system of fiscal federalism. On our flagship program called Digest, analysts harp on the issue of fiscal federalism. Public affairs analyst Dikpo Olayokun considers the implementation of fiscal federalism in Nigeria unworkable.
Nigeria should not be talking about fiscal federalism, because if you increase allocation to these state governors, what will they do? They will use it to satisfy their fancies. It will not permeate to the grassroots. The governors will be using it to service their offices.
However, legal practitioner Ufi Uzono feels it is the way forward, and for this to happen, governors should be held responsible for any misappropriations.
It's the way to go. When you look at the law that says that every resources in Nigeria, whether in the sea, whether on the land, belongs to Nigeria, it doesn't look right. Go to Ogoniland, go and see the damage that has been done. So we must look for a way where governors will be responsible and will be responsive, you know, and then we must push our politics to the point that people are educated to know who is an enemy from the beginning and who is a friend that is coming to serve.
Callers on the program also share their views.
Federalism can never help Nigeria at this point of time. So allocation that they are giving to them, when that allocation comes, they divert it to their private box account. Then how can you make a federalism around this time whereby federal allocations are diverting to private accounts? Which means it can never help us. So I don't think it is something that can help us around this time.
What we should do is to make sure that federal states should pay the kind of some percentage to the federal government, and you will see a healthy competition. Some of these governors or states that are claiming that they don't have anything, by the time it is done on them that now you have to work out what you're going to use, you will see everybody doing well.
It is the expectation of Nigerians that the Muhammadu Buhari-led administration will take the matter seriously and make a decision that will benefit the people.
Lagos State Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure, Ganiu Johnson, says the Memorandum of Understanding for the take-off of the construction of the 4th Mainland Bridge, Lagos, may be signed this month. Johnson, who made the disclosure while rendering the account of his ministry's stewardship in the last 1 year to mark the first anniversary of Governor Akinwumi Ambodi's administration in the state, justifying the need for the project. The commissioner stated that proposals for the construction of the bridge is hinged on the need to solve the perennial traffic gridlock observed on a daily basis by commuters on the 3rd Mainland Bridge, pointing out that the government will do its best in solving the situation. A strong plea has gone out to the Lagos State government by traders of the Olorunshogo market, Oshodi, over plans to demolish the market. At a press briefing, the Civil Liberties Organization, on behalf of Olorunshogo market men and women, is calling on the governor, Akinwumi Ambodi, to revert the decision and show sensitivity to traders during the economic situation affecting Nigerians. Akinyo Bakeye brings us more.
Pain, tears, anguish and lamentations. These are the expressions of traders and shop owners of the Olorunshogo markets in Oshodi area, a commercial center in Lagos State. The Lagos State government, through the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, have issued 4 demolition notices, which has been regarded as baseless by the Civil Liberties Organization.
The Civil Liberties Organization reads in the intent and purpose of the Lagos State government a most unwholesome and inordinate design to dispossess these traders and investors of their property on grounds that are baseless, unfounded, and inexistent.
Having voted in the present administration, the executive of the market are calling on political leaders in the state to intervene in the bordering issues.
We were begging our real father, Jagaban of Africa, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to help us plead to our Excellency Governor Akinwumi Ambode to please and plead to not demolish our market, because there is no anywhere we can go.
There's no any other places. They did not even provide us any places. They just said us to quit and move. Where are we going to?
Akin Obakeye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
And now we take you to Abuja, where the federal government has dragged Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company before a federal high court sitting in Abuja, claiming 1.3 trillion naira as the damage estimate against the oil firm for the December 20, 2011 Bonga oil spills, which created ecological and environmental challenges for coastal communities in Delta and Bayelsa states. The suit is protecting the interest of fishermen and persons, numbering about 255,000 from 350 communities and satellite villages affected by the Bonga crude oil spillage. As compensations, the government is demanding 884 billion naira for the oil spills that destroyed the affected communities. The Nigerian government is also demanding another 495 billion naira as restitution and restoration of the devastation of the economic zone of the Nigeria territorial waters, and 50 million naira as cost of the legal action. Issues of climate change has been a bother for years. Since the Kyoto Conference on Climate Change years ago in Japan, most of the agreements reached are still being ignored. Many problems are arising from the emission of greenhouse gas, especially on most of the developing countries. And so a bill for an act to provide measures to address climate change with a view to assisting in achieving a sustainable future for the country has been passing its second reading at the Senate. National Assembly correspondent Jamil Afegwa brings us more.
Seeking to address reduction in greenhouse gas emissions within Nigeria to promote the use of renewable sources of energy, promote business and community understanding about issues surrounding climate change is the main thrust of the bill, as the sponsor so succinctly put it before the chamber.
Climate change resulting from global warming is generally believed to be man-made. This is because the increase in the release of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere coincided with increased industrial and commercial activities and demand for energy.
Climate change, as it is affecting every aspect of Nigerian life, as some of the frontline states are witnessing the consequences of climate change, especially in the security, as observed by members. Some of the implications are being experienced now with cattle movements.
Those who emit these greenhouse gases are far from areas where the consequences of these greenhouse gases are felt. And it is very obvious that those of us in this divide of the world are most in shock of most of the consequences of climate change.
Presently, the desertification in the northern part of the country is a major contributor to the cattle herdsmen problems we are having presently, because all the trees, the leaves that the cattle need in the north is nowhere to be found.
Asking what can be done, members worry about the depletion of the ozone layer, gas flaring, whether or not to blame the dangerous trend on Nigerians' love for fuel-powered cars.
What amazes me is that all governments look at it and do nothing about it. Whether it's the refrigerator we use at home, that should be junk in the Western world that is imported to Nigeria, whether the cars we drive, especially the SUVs, which make no sense in terms of the environment. We're destroying the environment when we drive such vehicles.
Summing it up as an all-important bill, President of the Senate is referring the bill to the Committees on Environment, Ecology and Climate to be returned in 4 weeks. Jamil Afegwa, CoreTV News, Abuja.
And now health workers. of government health facilities in Ondo were paralyzed as health workers in the service of the Ondo state government trooped out to the streets to protest the non-payment of their 5-month salaries. The workers, comprising doctors, nurses, pharmacists, laboratory attendants, and record officers, gathered as early as 8 a.m. at the Specialist Hospital, Ondo, with different placards and leaves chanting solidarity songs. The protesters carried placards with inscriptions such as "Pay our salaries," "Shall we die before you pay us," among others, barricaded the road leading to the Mother and Child Hospital, thus paralyzing vehicular activities in the area. Meanwhile, the Ondo State government has appealed to the protesters to be patient with the government, saying efforts are ongoing on how to pay the workers' salaries. The federal government has again failed to produce former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki before a Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja for trial on corruption charges brought against him by the government. Although witnesses in the case were assembled by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in court, the trial was scuttled by the failure of the State Security Services to release Dasuki to EFCC for the trial. At the resumption of the case, counsel to the EFCC, Oluwaleke Atolagbe, informed Justice Baba Yusuf that he had made serious efforts through to the EFCC to contact the SSS to produce the first defendant in court, and regretted that at the time the court was sitting, his efforts did not yield fruitful result. The counsel informed the court that there was no indication that the former NSA would be brought to court for the trial, even though the witnesses were in court. However, in the judge's ruling, Justice Baba Yusuf said that it was the responsibility of the prosecution to produce the defendant in court, as required by law, but regretted that the prosecution had unfortunately abdicated this responsibility. The judge has granted an adjournment of the trial till May 23, 2016, because the conduct of the prosecution had been good in the past. The Nigerian Armed Forces have, in a final onslaught against the Boko Haram, deployed ground and aerial personnel deep inside Sambisa forest to clear the remnants of the terrorist enclave and rescue all hostages, including the Chibok girls who were abducted from their school 2 years ago. Chief of Defense Staff Abayomi Olonishakin discloses that the special operation, which started 5 days ago, is codenamed Operation Crackdown. Olonishakin explains that the major challenges being encountered by the troops in the area are landmines and improved explosive devices deployed by Boko Haram, adding that the problems are being sorted out with a combination of creative techniques and landmine-resistant equipments. He further added that the military is determined to complete the operation of liberating not only the infamous forest and free the girls, but to also ensure that every inch of Nigeria's territory is freed from the terrorists. And still with the Nigerian Army, the Army has confirmed the arrest of suspected killers of Civil War hero General Mohammed Shua. The first general officer commanding one division during the Civil War was shot dead in Maiduguri on November 2, 2012. Acting Director of Army Public Relations, Sani Usman, says officials of the military intelligence arrested the suspects after trailing them from Maiduguri and tracking them down in Kano. Parading the suspects at the brigade headquarters in Kano, Brigade Commander Hamisu Hassan said the arrest followed sustained intelligence operation. The suspected Boko Haram kingpins were picked up in Hotoro quarters of the Kano metropolis. Suspected gunmen who are said to be Fulani headsmen have assassinated the district head of Fadan Karshi, a busy commercial town in Sanga local government area, southern part of Kaduna State. The murder district head, Balamadaki, was killed alongside his nephew, Emmanuel Tanko. According to Mike McCarthy, a community leader in the area, the Fulani gunmen stormed the compound around 10:30 p.m. and shot the district head at close range. And still with the marauding headsman, the people of Obiaruku community, Ukwani local government area of Delta State, are requesting for the vacation of Fulani headsmen from their community following incessant violent attacks on their indigents by the headsmen. 8 residents of the community were held hostage by Fulani headsmen in a farmland for over 7 hours on April 26, 2016, a development that caused panic in the community. Speaking on the resolution of the community, its youth leader, Chika Uwabuofu, revealed that a meeting was held with the headsmen informing them of the community's decision. He, however, stated that the Fulanese are yet to comment on the situation. A pan-Idoma group, the Opiatoha Kidoma, has faulted the position of the northern governors on the activities of Fulani headsmen in parts of the country, saying that the governors tended to exonerate the headsmen from the recent massacre of hundreds of persons in Agatu local government area of Benue State. The group cautioned that statements on a sensitive issue like the mindless killing of innocent Nigerians by the headsmen should be handled with utmost care, not to aggravate the already tense situation in parts of the country. The Secretary General of the group, Adoka Adaji, maintained that the headsmen who masterminded the mass killings were criminals and should be treated as such, and further stated that anybody exonerating them of the mass killings presently witnessed in the parts of the country is not helping the situation. Adaji also urged the federal government to take decisive steps to end these killings. Cultural festivals all over the nation will be elevated to a point where they can contribute meaningfully to national development. This, according to the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, will help in preserving the nation's rich cultural heritage. He made this known at the 2016 Puskat Festival in Mangu, Plateau State. Correspondent Kazim Kasali has more.
The Puskat Festival 2016 is the latest in the series of the festival, which showcases the culture and heritage of the Mangus people in Plateau State. The minister, in his speech to the gathering, reiterates the determination of the federal government to elevate the nation's diverse cultural festivals to a level where they can contribute meaningfully to national development. The reason behind the drive to grow the sector, according to the minister, is its potential to generate thousands of jobs.
It is testimony to our commitment to supporting and elevating our numerous festivals to enable them to contribute their quota to national development while also preserving our rich cultural heritage.
Chairman of the Mugavu Development Association, Stephen Isse, in his speech to the gathering, disclosed that the association will continue to support the festival because it is a veritable tool for the economic and technological development of the Mangus people.
The event is anchored on the recognition that there exists an intrinsic link between culture and tourism as a foundation for the economic and technological growth of the noble nation.
Highlight of the occasion includes march past by various segments of the Mugavu nation and the display of the rich cultural heritage of the Mangus people, including horsemen. Kazim Kasali, CoreTV News, Mangu.
We'll go for a short break now, and when we get back, we'll bring you news from outside Nigeria and the world of sports.
CoreTV News now live on all Androids.
Welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
Download CoreTV News app from your Play Store. Click on the menu to see all our top stories from politics, sports, business, foreign news and live TV to watch us live on your mobile.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
You can also click on video to see all our YouTube videos. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. And now we're bringing news from outside Nigeria. We'll begin with Syria, where at least 3 people have been killed and many wounded in a rocket attack blamed on rebels in the battered northern city of Aleppo. The attack was part of a shelling that left at least 19 people dead in government-controlled areas of the city. Rebels and Syrian government forces have been battling each other with rockets and bombs across Aleppo and its outskirts for days now. A partial truce is in effect in Syria, but it does not cover Aleppo, the country's largest city and the scene of its worst violence in recent weeks. And in Israel, an Israeli court has handed down a life sentence to the ringleader of a Jewish gang who kidnapped, attacked and burned alive a Palestinian teenager in 2014. Yosef Haim Ben David and other defendants had confessed Abu Kadir's killing was a revenge for Israel's youth murder. Yosef Haim Ben Adin was handed a life sentence for killing 16-year-old Mohammed Abu Kadir. And in sports,
Our style, and that's what he delivered.
Nigeria's Olympic team is set to depart the country for an invitational tourney in Seoul, Korea by May 29, according to coach Samson Siasia. CICR has also decided that domestic league players will no longer be released for midweek games. He has therefore declared that from Monday, May 9th, he would no longer release any player from training camps to play for their clubs during Nigeria Professional Football League midweek matches. The former Super Eagles star disclosed he would soon release the names of foreign-based professionals expected to be part of the preparation. And still with the Olympics, the Olympic flame has arrived in Brazil for the start of a touch relay that will culminate with the opening of the Olympic Games in Rio in August. It was flown inside a small lantern on a special flight from the Swiss city of Geneva to Brasilia. President Dilma Rousseff lit the Olympic torch, which will be carried around Brazil by 12,000 runners, a move that could be one of President Rousseff's last public acts ahead of a possible impeachment trial. Meanwhile, the Brazilian Senate is expected to vote next week on whether proceedings against her should go ahead. If a simple majority votes in favor of Rousseff, she will be suspended from office for up to 180 days, and Vice President Michel Temer will take over. And that's all we have for you on CoreTV Primetime News. But before we go, here are top stories again. And on that note, we drop the anchor on CoreTV Primetime News. Do join us at 12 a.m. for more updates. I'm Williams. Thank you for joining us.